So once again, I'm Bob, and Barbara's on here with us today. And today we're going to be talking about the many facets of AARP in Colorado. And just to name a few of those, we have Elder Watch, Senior Planet, Wish of a Lifetime, State Advocacy, and there are quite a few others as well. And we'll be talking about those as we go along here. Our webinar sponsor today is AARP Colorado, and we very much appreciate that. So thank you, Sarah. Our panelists today, we'll start with Sarah Schuneman, who is the new Colorado State Director for AARP, and then Mark Federhoff will join. He's Program Manager with Elder Watch, and then Dayton Romero, who's a Regional Manager for Senior Planet and Older Adults Technology Service from AARP. And then finally, Tom Wagenlander, who is Executive Director and VP with Wish of a Lifetime from AARP. A little bit about us. We launched a couple of years ago. We're a 501c3 nonprofit focused on becoming the information embedded service provider hub for aging Coloradans and all current and future caregivers. We're pretty excited about doing this because our state is getting older quicker. And so as you can see here, the 60 plus population is going up and the under 18 population is kind of flat. And they crossed one another last year for the very first time. These are the two audiences that we focus on. We have the sandwich generation here, which is roughly 40 to 60, and then the 60 plus. Between those two, there are about 3 million people in the state of Colorado, which is over half of our population and growing. And then webinars like today's, we've had 36 webinars to date. They're all on our website, and we'll be adding this one as well. And you can see the next couple that are coming up. And then finally, if you want to learn more, just go to our website here. This is just a kind of a screen grab from our homepage, so you can kind of get a feel for what that looks like. So now I'm going to turn this over to Sarah, and she's going to give us some additional background on AARP here in Colorado. So take it away, Sarah.
Thank you, Bob, and appreciate the opportunity to be here with everyone today. I want to sign up for Trash or Treasure webinar because I think we all have that feeling of like, is this worth something or not? But I really admire all the different webinars that you guys do, and specifically the work that you're doing here for us in Colorado. There's a lot of need, and I really appreciate that. So let me go ahead and start with sharing my screen quickly here. Okay, one more second. Let me get this going. Okay, so as Bob mentioned, I actually started with AARP back in January. And so when you think about getting to know AARP, there's a lot to learn. And it was exciting for me as I've been on this journey over the last 8 months to really embrace all the different aspects of AARP. And I'm excited to share with you all because I'm not sure everybody knows. All right, so we're the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan member organization. We have 38 million members across the country, 670,000 members here in Colorado that are in the 50 plus category. And our mission is to empower people to choose how they live as they age. I think that's really important because we all have different preferences and different ways that we would like to age. And we really want to ensure that we're supporting everyone in their own way. There's some key areas, though, that we focus on when we're thinking about strengthening our communities and working with families. And those are around financial security, health security, financial stability, and personal fulfillment, right? And so when we are thinking about the work that we're doing throughout the Colorado or nationally, those are 3 pillars that we use to prioritize our work. Here in Colorado, at the state level, we have 8 staff that work on our state initiatives and over 1,500 volunteers that partner with us. See. So I thought it'd be interesting to share a little bit about how we're organized because, everyone has a different perspective of AARP and they're all probably correct, but they fall within different categories. So we're comprised of distinct legal entities under a common motto, which is to serve and not to be served. And really what that means is we have kind of 3 legs to our stool. First of all, there's AARP services. And what falls under AARP services are all of those things like AARP health insurance or discounts when you go to Outback Steakhouse or when you're going to buy your eyeglasses and you get 10% off. Those are all our revenue generating opportunities that fall under AARP services that we get to take advantage of as members. And then we have our foundation, and the foundation does a lot of great work for us. That could include things like our tax aid program, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we move forward, but foundation does a lot of great work. And then there's AARP, and AARP is a lot of what we're going to talk about today, but this is the work that we're doing in terms of advocacy and community engagement work at the state and federal level, and actually in our local communities as well. Okay. So within our state and in AARP in general, we have some key focus areas: advocacy, communications, outreach, education, and engagement, and then programs. And I'm going to dive into each of them a little bit for you and tell you a little more about each of them. But we really have a strategy to build age-friendly state here in Colorado. And when I say that, I mean a state that is supportive of everything that we do between the age of 8 and 80. So not just age-friendly for older adults, but age-friendly for us as younger adults, as younger people as well. And that could be things like ensuring that we have sidewalks. So if we're a young child and we want to go ride our bike, there's a place to do that. And if we're older and we want to get out and get some exercise or walk to the grocery store, we have the opportunity to do that. And so that's just an example, but thinking about how we can be an age-friendly state no matter what age you are. And so within Colorado, we have numerous programs. And again, I'll elaborate a little bit more on these for you here in a minute. But we have our state office initiatives, and that's what I'm responsible for driving. We have a driver safety program. So if you want to ensure that your driver skills are up to date or refreshers, we have courses around the state and across the country where you can go and take some driver safety classes. Every spring, we also offer a tax aid program, which is someone who will sit down with you if you're over 50 and help you work through your taxes and file those for you. So it's a free service that we have different locations again across the state, opportunity to take advantage of that. And then we also have CSEP, which is a Colorado workforce development program for older adults. So if you are interested in staying in the workforce or going back to work or just need to refresh your skills in some ways, partnering with us and our CSEP program is a great opportunity to refresh those skills or build some skills that you may need to be a part of the workforce. And then, as Bob mentioned, we're going to have Mark share a little bit more about our Fraud Network and Elder Watch program here. And Dayton is going to talk a little bit about our OATS and Senior Planet, or Older Adult Technology Service. And then we're going to wrap it up with Tom sharing a little bit more about Wish of a Lifetime. So let me tell you a little bit about our advocacy work. So really important, AARP does not endorse any candidates for public office or make contributions to any political campaign or candidates. So we are a nonpartisan organization, but what we do is fight for issues that matter to us as we age, the 50+ community, and our families and society. So Some great examples. This could be at the state, federal, or local level. Some great examples are we are doing a lot of work around Social Security, right? And ensuring that our Social Security is available for us in the future. We were part of the negotiations around the Inflation Reduction Act. And now, as you probably all have heard, Medicare is going to be negotiating the price of prescription drugs moving forward. And this was a huge priority for us at AARP because we know how expensive prescription drugs can be. And especially as we're older and on a fixed income. At the state level, one of the initiatives we just worked on this past year was a Job Fairness Application Act, which means that an employer cannot ask you how old you are or any age identifying information on your first initial job application here in Colorado. We think that that's a critical importance, that we're not being discriminated against based on our age. And we may even have local advocacy efforts around things like the opportunity to build an accessory dwelling unit in our backyards. And that's often a local or a municipal legislation or decision that's made. And so those accessory dwelling units, if you're not familiar with that term, are things that sometimes people call them mother-in-law suites or garage apartments or additional units that are built on your own property. And so we are really working with our legislators and our network of advocacy volunteers at that federal, state, and local level to ensure that there are laws and regulations that are supporting the 50 plus, our family and our society. When we think about education and engagement, this goes back also, as our advocacy does, to those topics that we said, our financial resiliency, our health security, and our fun and fulfillment, our personal fulfillment. And so, financial security has everything to do with saving, managing, and protecting your assets to ensure that you are financially secure as you age. Again, creating those livable communities. So looking at things like how is housing available for us as we age? If I'm interested, today I live in a 3-bedroom home with my growing son, but as I get older and he moves out of the home, am I interested in downsizing? Are there homes available? Are they affordable? Are they accessible to us as we age? So thinking about things like that, or transportation, am I able to get to the grocery store if I do not drive any longer, or a appointment to my doctor? And so thinking about things that create our communities, create livable communities for us is really important. And then health, right? So again, is there access to quality, affordable health care? What happens when I may need long-term care? Are we supporting caregivers? Bob mentioned at the beginning of this presentation that sandwich generation. If you are caring for a loved one, do you have the resources and things that you need in order to be able to care for a loved one? And maybe that person gets to the place where you cannot have them in your home any longer or in their home any longer. Is there long-term care facilities available, accessible, and affordable to help support you? So those are key areas that we think about as we're engaging with our community and also doing education around them. Generally, our audience is the 50 plus and their family, as I mentioned before. And we really want to make sure that we're focusing on the underserved communities and we're having an equitable perspective. And so we often have presentations, materials in Spanish, for example, because we want to ensure that we're inclusive of everyone. All right. I also wanted to share a little bit about how we have some amazing communications resources out there. So if you haven't seen, there is AARP, the magazine, and this is actually the nation's largest publication in circulation, and it is the most read publication, which I think is really exciting. Also, there's AARP's monthly newsletter, the Bulletin. And this is a great resource for you. There's often local information or statewide information included in the Bulletin as well. So keep an eye out for that. Our website has a plethora of information on everything from Social Security to caregiving to financial resilience to fun events to participate in. So definitely encourage you to go to aarp.org. You may not know, I didn't know when I started with AARP that we have a AARP TV and radio programming. We also have AARP en Español, so in Spanish language website. And we have national and state social media channels. I was sharing with some folks earlier when we first got on the call that we have teletown halls on different topics. So nationally and here at the state level, we talk about different priority areas, such as what is happening with Medicare's negotiating the prices of prescription drugs. What does that mean for me? And so participating in some of those teletown halls is a great way to learn about that. And then consumer and political email channels, if that's something you're interested in. But I would encourage you to learn more by just going to aarp.org/Colorado. And there's a great list of our social media channels. There's tremendous resources. We have a monthly newsletter that we send out and lots of local events and programming that are happening here in the state of Colorado. And you can learn more about that at aarp.org/CO. So with that, I am going to turn it over to Mark, who's going to talk about our Fraud Watch Network and Elder Watch.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Yes, I am going to talk a little bit about the fraud work that's happening in Colorado. And I will say, first and foremost, what we're doing in Colorado is just maybe a little bit different than what you're hearing about in other states, because AARP has a program in Colorado that's been a partnership with the Colorado Attorney General's office for over 20 years now, and it's called AARP Elder Watch. And I know on the screen there it says Fraud Watch Network, which is the national program for AARP in terms of fraud education. But in Colorado, we also have a special program called AARP Elder Watch. Again, that's a partnership with the Attorney General's office, and one that we really value in terms of being able to educate older Coloradans about the different types of frauds and scams that are out there targeting them. So if you go to the next slide, that would be awesome. And so just a little bit more about Elder Watch. Again, I mentioned it's that partnership that's been going on between us and the Attorney General's office, regardless of who the Attorney General is in Colorado. It was a program that was started by Ken Salazar when he was the Attorney General in Colorado, and then it's been continued by every succeeding Attorney General since. And so we're thrilled to have that partnership. Part of the program really is we have a volunteer staff call center. And that's where we take questions about different types of frauds and scams from folks all over the state and issues that they're dealing with. We have wonderful volunteers who help out with that type of work. In addition to that, we're doing education outreach on virtual presentations, on in-person presentations. Thank goodness, again, that type of things happening at different types of fairs and events to, again, educating people about the different types of frauds and scams that are out there targeting older Coloradans. In addition to that work, about 3.5 years ago, we also added some education that we do around older adult financial literacy as part of our program. And so, again, some of it is older adult financial literacy about avoiding different types of frauds and scams, and also understanding the different types of payment methods that are used. And how to use them in a safe way, because again, scammers are requesting different types of frauds and scams in all different ways now. For example, right now, one of the most common ways that scammers are requesting payment is through cryptocurrency. And so, again, part of the work that we're doing is just making sure the older adults in Colorado understand what they're doing if they get a request for cryptocurrency as a form of payment. In addition to that, a lot of the work that we're doing in Colorado is also translating across the country and to other states. And so we kind of also have the home base for the AARP Fraud Watch Network helpline as well. And so between our two helplines, we're taking around 100,000 calls a year from folks in Colorado and folks across the country. And again, we have volunteers in Colorado who are helping out with that work, and also virtual volunteers in other parts of the country who are doing that work as well. And so it gives us a really good pulse of what types of frauds and scams are going on out there, and what we should be educating folks about. And we do that, again, as Sarah mentioned, in helping to educate folks through the bulletin and other forms of communication. AARP sends out like email alerts and that type of thing as well. Next slide, please. I just wanted to give you all a little bit of a taste, in addition to kind of the nuts and bolts of Elder Watch, a little taste of what types of things we're hearing about on our helplines. And so these are specifically from the helpline in Colorado, kind of the top reports we're hearing about from older Coloradans. Number one, imposter business scam, oftentimes using the name of Amazon. Number two, identity theft. Has been far and away one of the most common types of scams. And even if it's not the actual type of scam, I'll say that there's an element of identity theft in most of the types of scams that we're hearing about on the helplines. And so it's important to know that. It's important to take precautions with regards to identity theft, such things as checking your annual credit report, placing fraud alerts and credit freezes, monitoring accounts, important details like that. Tech support and computer virus scams, again, one of the most common scams we're hearing about on the helpline as well. I'll say that, scammers are using different tactics than they started. When I started doing this type of work about 8 years ago, they were pretty much exclusively using the Microsoft name and trying to, trick people into being victimized by this type of a scam. Now they're using all different types of names. We'll hear Apple, we'll hear Amazon, we'll hear different types of computer virus providers like a McAfee or a Norton or even a Geek Squad type of a situation. So watching out for all the different types of scams using the names of reputable computer companies is super important. Imposter government scams, again, scammers are still out there using the name of Social Security, the IRS, Medicare, other types of organizations that we associate with government entities, even local governments as well. We'll hear people, scammers using the names of local sheriffs or police departments, as well as local officials. Home repair and improvement scam. A lot of those scams that we hear about on the helpline are issues with a contractor. I just took one today with an issue with someone who was having an issue with a contractor with regards to redoing their basement. Online dating and romance scams, very, very common right now, especially kind of, and after fallout from COVID, we're having lots of people who might have been talking to someone who they thought they were in a relationship with, but in reality, it's kind of someone who's been trying to take money from them or get personal information from that person. The fraudulent sales that we hear about are mostly kind of fake websites, as well as different types of issues with marketplace sites like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. Sweepstakes, prize, and lottery. I mean, the scam that never goes away. Anytime you have to pay money to receive money, it's always a scam. I will tell you that scammers, probably just as much as they were when I started this work, are using the name of Publishers Clearinghouse to try and get money from people, who hope that they won, that $2.5 million and a new Mercedes as well. Phishing scams, also really, really common and don't seem to go away and seem to get more complicated. Now we're seeing more phishing text messages, which is very frustrating, but scammers are using the names of well-known banks that we're familiar with. They're also using the names of different types of maybe delivery services like a UPS or a FedEx to try and kind of hook people into a situation to get personal or financial information that way. And then the last one on this list, non-stranger exploitation. I hate to see it on this list, but it usually shows up as one of the last ones on our top 10, but it's often where a family member or caregiver of some sort or neighbor is taking advantage of an older loved one. And those are often a APS referral for us or Adult Protective Services referral for us, but hate to see those, but they do often show up in our top 10 list. Next slide, please, Sarah. So if you want to connect with ElderWatch, we'd love to hear from you. If you ever have a question about a fraud or scam, again, our volunteers and staff are a great resource to ask questions about frauds or scams, or just bounce an idea off of. One of the calls that came in today was someone trying to figure out if a Microsoft, if someone who was essentially committing, a tech support scam, was if that was a reputable type of entity that is a Microsoft contractor. And so we hear about that type of a thing, and people are just looking for kind of that wise friend to talk to about the different types of experiences they're having to figure out if it is a scam or not and how they should proceed. And so again, you can always call us to that number on the screen. That's the number for the Colorado Attorney General's consumer complaint line. You can get a lot of different things when you call that number, but you go to ElderWatch and you press option 2. Again, Stop Fraud Colorado is a great website with resources. It's the Colorado Attorney General's consumer education website. You can follow us on Facebook at that. If you just search ElderWatch, you will definitely find us. And we also send out monthly kind of smart tips about this kind of the scam of the month. And if you are interested in getting on that list, just send an email to AARP Elderwatch at AARP.org and just put add me smart tips in the subject line, and we'll get you on that list. But thanks for your time today. And again, probably at the end, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Hey, Mark, just a really quick thing. I was with someone last night who is a recently retired UPS executive, and he was telling me about people who are printing counterfeit labels for UPS packages and selling them to people cheap. And people are buying them. And then what happens to the shipment after they use one of these illegal labels is they go into the UPS warehouse in Atlanta and they're never seen again. So if there are people trying to sell these things to you, don't buy them, because whatever you're shipping will never get to the destination. So
that's great. We've not received any types of kind of reports of that type of a scam, but I mean, it sounds like very much inside knowledge that you were getting, and hopefully it's not something as widespread as it probably could be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, appreciate that.
Dayton, are you ready to jump in here and tell us a little bit more about oats and senior planning? Awesome.
Absolutely. Hope everyone can hear me okay. Good afternoon. And just first, thank you to AARP Colorado, and thank you, HWise, for having us here today to talk a little bit about what we do and share our mission overall and some of the exciting programs that we offer. So with that said, I always like to start with our ethos, right? So we embrace this attitude of aging with attitude. And we are an affiliate of AARP, hence how we collaborate so well with the state office, as well as Mark's shop and everyone across the AARP family. But what we do is focus on the technology parts of it, and we offer free technology services through that. So founded in 2004, Older Adult Technology Services from AARP, which we do consider ourselves a social impact organization, has a mission to harness the power of technology to change the way we age. We do this through our flagship program, which is Senior Planet. And we work closely with older adults as well as a dedicated curriculum team on staff to provide extraordinary experiences in person and online. Now, before we move on to the next slide, I really like talking about where we are today and the importance of getting folks connected and equipped with the digital literacy in today's world. So I'll just mention a few stats. Specifically related to older adults, nearly half of older Americans are on the wrong side of the technology gap. According to a recent census and one of our reports done through OATS, almost 22 million people over 65 and 39 million over 50 are lacking home wireline internet services. Now, that amplifies with Medicaid enrollees who are 2.7 times more likely to be offline. Those with functional impairments are twice as likely as that to be offline. concerning devices and having access to web-enabled devices, almost 20% of Americans over the age of 50 do not have a computer, in comparison with of 82% of older or adults ages 18 to 49 who have access. So that kind of sets the stage of where we are today in that digital divide gap, which is really one of our focal points in addressing by equipping older adults with the skills that they need and they need to embrace technology to change the way they age. And what are some of the benefits of this? Some of the benefits, in fact, we've done a study through OATS called Fly Like an Eagle, where we measure transformational social outcomes among seniors using technology. And through that study, we found 60% of participants in the study strongly agreed that receiving their tablet helped them feel more connected with family members. 88% of participants who took the technology course done through Senior Planet felt more connected with friends and family. And nearly twice as many seniors in the control group done through the study without digital skills training reported feeling depressed compared to those who took the technology courses through Senior Planet. So something that I love, that I hear repeatedly in my role as regional program manager and in this mission is having internet access and digital literacy skills is a super social determinant of health, which I think we could all relate to in this room of whether you're a senior service provider or a family member, that we need technology and the ability to use them to navigate today's world and gain access to really important resources and overall just thrive and have a purpose. So with that said, if we could move on to the next slide. Thank you, Sarah. I'd like to kind of dive into some of the programs that we offer, and we offer them through several channels and primarily 3 ways, which includes in-person, virtually, and through our licensing program, which really leans on community partners throughout the country. So with that said, I'd like to kind of give an overview of those 3 channels, and those bullet points there, all 3 of these channels offer those. And so aside the 5 and 10 week courses, which is exclusive to our in-person programming. So with that said, we are so fortunate. OATS and Senior Planet is a nationwide organization. We have 5 physical sites throughout the country, and we have one in Denver, Colorado, specifically Lowry, where we offer in-person programming to older adults 10 weeks at a time with breaks in the middle. And a lot of those programs are aligned with social impact areas. Before I go into the programs themselves, I want to encourage everyone who's in the area and can make it to the Senior Planet Center in Colorado to pay us a visit. You'll see what a beautiful space it is that we offer for folks to come out. And we not only see it as a place where people can learn and really kind of feed their curiosity, but also connect with others and build community, which is why we consider ourselves a social impact organization. So quickly through our in-person, and I want to go through our social impact areas, all of our curriculum, which we have over 200 programs across those bullet points offered for older adults, they fall in line with 5 themes or 5 social impact areas, which include social engagement, health and wellness, financial security, creative expression, civic engagement. And these, what I love about it is that it recognizes people have different motives of using technology. So in addition to our foundational courses, which really gets into the nitty gritty of hardware, what is a computer? How do I pick the right one? What is AI? That type of stuff. There are other purposes of, smartphone photography, how to organize your photo albums, those types of things that are available for folks. So we're really meeting people where they're at and offering things that really meet why they would pick up a device. Now with virtual programs, which is on our website, and there'll be a slide a little bit later on, we offer our virtual programs Monday through Friday live over our website, and we intentionally make it easy to navigate and join. Folks can find the live and upcoming programs on the website for both our virtual and in-person programs. So just right there on our landing page, you can find what's coming up and what would I be interested in registering for, or just join at that day and time. So we make it as easy as possible to join those. And I think that's the beauty of kind of accessibility and us having and offering free courses, free classes and programs. The third is licensing. I mentioned our licensed partners. What I love about this program is that it powerfully equips local organizations across the country. We happen to have 6 of those licensed partners here in Colorado to help older adults access technology and use it to enhance their lives. So if there are organizations here today in this webinar who are motivated and wanting to give the tools and resources to older adults who they are serving through your own programs, you can become a licensed partner. It's free to become a licensed partner. Our goal is to really, be a capacity builder and work with you so that you can localize and choose which programs to offer your participants. And it's truly a collaborative program. And we'll move on to the next slide, Sarah. Thank you. I love highlighting our hotline support. Speaking of, easy access, if today, if anything, you take away, this is a critical resource for people across the country, for our participants, AARP members, and other older adults who are looking to learn more. It's an easy hotline, so they could get connected and get help with tech, or if they have any questions about getting set up, we have this dedicated staff and resource for folks. And you see the hours there. And boy, we have someone here in Colorado actually on the National Hotline Center, so they might be able to localize it even more. But such an amazing resource for folks to connect with in case they have some of those general questions, whether it be about Senior Planet or their technology in general, or what are those next steps of getting connected, and whether it be with our programs or others in the area. So last slide here is a real general around our resources. Find everything, like I had talked about, on our website. It's an easy navigatable website, and if anything, our hotline is available if you have any questions navigating that. Whether you're an organization or you have an aging parent, a family member, loved one, friend, refer them here, and that is where they can really find everything that they're needing related to our programs, just all what we're about. And those additional resources there show you a map of where our license are across the country. Our newsletter is an amazing way to keep up to speed on what we're doing, what we have planned, and all the exciting things going on. And then the last piece is related to the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is a federal program for populations who would like assistance with their internet bill. There are eligibility rules, but we have dedicated workshops to getting enrolled in that program called ACP very often. But the Affordable Connectivity Program is there. So that's all my slides. And again, just thank you for having me, and happy to share my information if anyone would like to reach out to me directly. But hope you took something away today, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Dayton. Hey, just a quick question. You mentioned 6 licensed partners in Colorado. Could you provide a couple of examples of who they are?
Yeah, Bob, let me pull those for you, and I'm happy to get them in the chat. They're actually I don't have the name of the organizations, but there is one in Pueblo County, there's one in Jefferson County, Lone Mesa County, and we have an upcoming licensed partner in El Paso County named Silver Key. Okay. Let me put that in the chat for the group, the specific organization names, and happy to follow up that way.
Okay, thanks, Dayton. All right. Next up is Tom, I guess.
Thanks, Bob, and hello, everyone. Appreciate the opportunity to connect with you all today. And Bob, thank you so much for including Wish of a Lifetime. Sarah as well. Excited. Oop, let me get my video back on.
Sorry, I did that.
Oh,
Mistake.
no worries. I can take a hint, Bob, if you don't want me on screen.
That's
Um,
good.
But wanted to thank you all for being here. Sarah, thank you for giving us the time to share a little bit about our organization and our mission, which is Wish of a Lifetime from AARP. Mark, always great to hear your updates and what the Fraud Watch team is doing and the essential work you all provide. And then Dayton, just love to hear about Senior Planet and Oats and the scale and scope of your services and programs. And much like Oats, Wish of a Lifetime is an official charitable affiliate of AARP. But our roots go back and really started in Colorado in 2008 when we were founded by Jeremy Bloom, who is the first individual to both ski in the Olympics and be drafted into the NFL. He was also an All-American at the University of Colorado, which is having a little bit of a moment right now with Coach Prime and their football team, and Jeremy's thrilled about that. But Jeremy decided to start Wish of a Lifetime in honor of his grandparents, who really were primary catalysts for his success. As a World Cup skier, he experienced a lot of success at a very young age, and he needed a lot of support. And he made a promise to himself as well that once his athletic career was over, because so many people had empowered him to his achievements, he was going to give back to others, and he wanted to give back to the type of people who were so influential in his life, and those were older adults. So we started Wish of a Lifetime in 2008, and we've been granting the lifelong, life-changing wishes of older adults ever since then. Have granted over 2,500 wishes as an organization, and really have honed in on this idea that, and this is why this is such a great relationship with AARP, that we put a face and a name and a story to a lot of the issues facing our older populations, whether that's caregiving or veterans or isolation. We know the best stories are often ones that can resonate with individuals. And so we're constantly on the hunt through underserved communities to find and uncover wishes that we can grant, and really match that storytelling approach with the great work AARP does around advocacy and how they fight for older adults. And as we all know, I'm sure you know these stats if you're on this call, but this is more essential than ever. Our older adult population is exploding. The numbers are doubling and tripling for different demographics in the next few decades. And still, unfortunately, they're dealing with a lot of challenges as well. Over 16 million older adults are depressed. A lot of discussion as of late around the dire health effects of isolation. And so if you want to go to our next slide, we can show how wishes empower people to strengthen social connections. They allow us to celebrate older adults for their accomplishments. And as I was touching on, really share stories to empower people to choose how they live as they age. And this is really built on the premise that uh, your older years, your later years should be seen as a time of possibility, not as a time of a loss of capability. And so we tell stories like this individual here, this is Mel Heckman. As of 5 or 6 years ago, he was the lone Pearl Harbor survivor in Wyoming. And his dream was to go to the 75th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. And so not only did we send him to that ceremony, we also intentionally built experiences around that experience. This is where he went to the Marine Corps base in Hawaii and got to meet with some active duty service members. And you could just see the cross intergenerational connections and how this was something that had a huge impact, not only on Mel, but these younger generations. So we really, in wish granting, try to provide individualized support and logistics that will really meet as many needs as possible to a wish recipient. Next slide, please. And as an organization, we've granted over 2,500 wishes all over the country. We are set to grant nearly 300 wishes this year, and when we effectively grant our wishes, we see a simple gesture have an extraordinary impact. We see how a wish fulfilled can change a life, but this is where I keep honing in on this idea of storytelling, how a story can really move people in amazing ways and potentially shift perceptions and change the world. So on the right here, you see a couple more examples of wishes. Joan, who had a pretty simple wish, she had a theater background. It was her passion. It gave her a sense of fulfillment, but she wasn't able to really connect with that because of mobility issues. So we created a whole weekend long, I think it was 4 or 5 days experience to go to New York to see The Lion King and other performances. And the anticipation for this event motivated her to work on her mobility, to really change the way she was living and interacting with the world, fight the isolating component she was dealing with. And these effects have carried on post-wish as well. And then this gentleman below Joan is Lieutenant Colonel James Harvey. He's one of maybe only a dozen surviving Tuskegee Airmen, the first Black fighter pilots and their crews who trained and fought during World War II. And in 1949, Colonel Harvey and his team of all Black Tuskegee Airmen won the Air Force's first Top Gun competition. And unfortunately, as was so typical of that time, the Air Force pretty much disavowed that it happened, swept it under the rug, and never gave the credit that these individuals, these airmen deserved. And so our wish was to get them the credit they were due, to send them to Washington, D.C. to meet with members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and top brass of the Air Force, but then also to send Colonel Harvey as a representative of his airman team to Nellis Air Force Base, the site of where they won, where they could memorialize this team forever with a ceremony and a plaque that still stands there today. So as you can see, these wishes can be complicated. They can also be simple, but there's always, and we strive to do this as much as possible, a deep meaning behind these stories that will not only resonate with the family and friends and the wish recipient, but with wider audiences. And we love to partner. We think the best stories are ones where we have multiple people telling the story. So we've worked with senior living organizations, affordable housing groups, have sourced wishes through activations with Oats and Senior Planet and state offices all over the country to make sure we're finding the most deserving individuals, but also providing the best experiences. Our team is based pretty exclusively in Denver, but as I mentioned, we grant wishes all across the country. We have a field staff as well that is dispersed throughout the country to help us have a face at wish experiences, but then to also help us find the most deserving individuals. And yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions about Wish of a Lifetime. Feel free to reach out to me for any reason. Would love to talk partnerships or see if there's anyone in your network we could grant a wish for. My email address is tom@wishofalifetime.org, and you can find out all about our wishes and our stories and who we serve at wishofalifetime.org.
Thank you, Tom. So if somebody on the call or someone that they talked to wanted to nominate someone for a wish, how would they do that?
Sure, there's a couple ways. You can go to our website. You can see all the details about our criteria, our wish application. But if it's someone you really feel like is deserving a wish, but maybe you don't know what their wish is, I definitely would reach out to myself, and I can put you in contact with any one of our staff members in our field team who can walk you through the process. Probably not surprising to any of us, asking someone, especially of this generation, what their lifelong wish is, because it's such a humble generation, doesn't always generate an immediate response. So we have different tips and tools to uncover wishes, and can find those on those website, or please feel free to reach out to me directly.
I mean, I'm assuming that some wishes might be as simple as just being reunited with some people that were really close friends, maybe 50, 60 years ago or something like that. Is that true? Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's actually our most popular category is reconnecting or connecting loved ones. We actually have our entire team here with us in office today. And we were just talking about a story for an individual who his late daughter had placed their son up for adoption, and the grandfather didn't know this or didn't even know that he had a grandson. And so we were able to connect them some 50 years later, at the age of 50 and 85. But those are pretty exceptional experiences, life-changing ones, but also, especially coming off of COVID and the pandemic, we see now more than ever the importance of maintaining these connections. And we live in a virtual world, but nothing can replace that face-to-face, human-to-human connection. So we love granting those types of wishes.
Well, it's great work you're doing, Tom. Thank you, and thanks to all of our presenters today.